Hey, and thank you for joining us for episode 99 of Financial Confidence, where we're having true confessions and conversations over here about everyday life and finances. Our guiding principles for this show is Matthew 6:33. But before we get to that, guys, we want to hear your money success stories. Yes, how are you doing in this situation? Is the information helping you? What do you need? Contact us at financialconfidence2020@gmail.com. Yes, that's financialconfidence2020@gmail.com. If that doesn't work for you guys, go ahead and send us a message. Send us a message via voicemail. Call us at 470-236-8282. That's 470-236-8282. If you will, guys, I want to remind you of the guiding principle for our show, which is Matthew 6:33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. We also implore that you pray over your finances, guys, because we also are called to be good stewards of those financial resources so that we can support the causes that are near and dear to our hearts. How can we help the victims of domestic violence? How can we help the homeless if we're struggling ourselves? So guys, if you will, take a moment and bow with me. Lord, help us to value the things in this world that are really valuable. That's our relationship with you, our lives, and our families. Help make us responsible stewards of your financial resources, and let us trust your holy word, your eternal glory. In thy son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, we are super excited to have in the podcasting studio today award-winning financial education expert, Sam X. Rennick. He's not only he's not only an expert there, but he's an author, he's a songwriter, he's a social entrepreneur. Guys, he does it all. So I want you to be so super excited with me. Get your pen and your paper. You're going to get some notes today to help you and the kiddos, yes, the kiddos, so that they can do the things that they need to do as well as they're preparing not only for the short term, but also the long term. Hello, Sam. How are you?
Hey, both Sam and Sammy Rabbit are doing Sammy-rific. Lynn, thank you so much for having us and for your positive energy. I think you could single-handedly knock out the coronavirus by yourself with all your positivity. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you in the podcasting studio. We appreciate you coming on to share with us today. Guys, if you don't know, Sam's going to share about himself, but guys, we have a true heavy hitter on the podcast today who's been in this financial literacy game for a long time. So I definitely implore you to make sure you download this, you subscribe, you listen to it over and over and over as you go through this process, guys, because this is nothing but information that's going to be game-changing for your family if and only if you implement. So Sammy, Sam, Sammy the Rabbit is his character. He's going to talk about that in just a second. But as we move forward, what we want to do is to let our audience know a little bit about you. So what was your relationship like with money when you were a kid?
It was all about working to get it. We didn't have any.
Awesome.
It was, it's one of the things, if somebody asks me what is my purpose here in life, I think it's to, help motivate parents and educators to talk to kids about money. That's what my father did with me. I think that's why this issue resonates so deeply with me. And what was, I think, far-sighted or unusual was that we were hovering. There were 7 of us in a house, believe it or not, with one bathroom. It was only 2 bedrooms, 1 telephone, 1 car. And we were hovering. I discovered when I went to college, I'll never forget this economics course. And they said, I don't know why the professor brought this up, but he said, the poverty line is at this dollar amount. And for some reason, I had this general idea of what our family brought in. I thought, oh my goodness, we're hovering at the poverty line. But through all of that,
Right.
My father was continually, regularly talking to us about the idea that if we worked hard, if we got an education, we could have anything we want, including more money, which, allows you to have more freedom, more choices, more security, and all the things that it
Right.
brings. And something you mentioned to begin with, it better positions you to be able to give to others responsibly. So, it was that's what it was all about. I wanted to get some. I thought that might be,
Yes.
I thought that might be helpful in getting out of this small house where everybody was, jammed on top of each other. If I could, figure out how to earn some money, and also contribute to the family's welfare and all that good stuff. So, that's what it was
Right.
about.
Awesome. Awesome. So thinking along those lines, how did you get some? How did you start earning money? Did you get a first job? What did that look like for you?
That's something I think our father again, and our mother supported as well, was he developed this hustle attitude, this entrepreneurial spirit into us when we were kids. So, we would wash family members' cars. I had a lawn mowing route. I tried all kinds of different things as a kid. And then, I forget my first professional kind of job, but I do remember being in college, being in a bank teller as part of a part-time program, and then that led to an internship with a technology company called TRW, and I actually ended up going to work there full-time when I graduated from Loyola Marymount here in Los Angeles. And one of the probably the smartest things I did from a financial standpoint, which affects every other aspect of your life and your well-being, is when I got that first job, I put a third of what I made into saving and investment programs. And I did that for the entire time I was in corporate America, which was 12 years. And guess what? That
Wow.
muscle, that financial muscle, it grew. And my
Right.
pile of savings and investments, it grew. Now, I wasn't Bill Gates, so I didn't become a billionaire, but what I did do is I created a lot more choices, financial freedom for myself, so I could explore other endeavors and have more control over my own time. It's one of the things that actually led me eventually to the path I'm on now. So that's kind of a short, long story.
Awesome. Awesome. So going back, because you brought out a very important point when you shared that you put away about a third of your money for saving and investing. What would you say triggered that for you? Because that's uncommon. Most people say, hold up, wait a minute, I'm living paycheck to paycheck right now, and you're asking me to put back a third of that. So what was the thinking? What was the mindset that you had at that time that led you to move down that path?
There was a lot of things that contributed to that. When you think about education and take a deep dive into it, one of the things you realize is it's a process, and there's a lot of layering that goes on. So I think, in giving this a lot of thought, it started with those conversations with my father. And then I remember at maybe somewhere between 10 and 12, he introduced me to a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yes.
I must have been the only 10-year-old in the world reading
that book.
But I did, and that led me to reading more and more books on a regular basis. And then I was very fortunate in this respect that I went to work for this Fortune 100 company. They were in aerospace. It was a little bit ironic because even to this day, I have a hard time screwing in a light bulb. But fortunately, I was on the business side, and I was surrounded there in what I would call a financially literate environment. This is back in 1980. The company had investment clubs. One of the first things they did when they onboarded you is they had their own credit union. It said, hey, these are the benefits of being a member of a credit union. So when you went to lunch in the cafeteria, people talked about money. And these people, they were the top scientists and engineers in the world. They just, would work 60 to 70 hours a week. But for fun, in addition to that, on weekends, they had other businesses. And so they would operate those businesses, or they would own real estate. And so you were involved in these types of conversations. So I think it was all those factors. And then don't underestimate this factor. And that's the 7 people in one house factor.
Right.
when you're growing up, now I didn't realize that we were poor. All right. Relatively speaking, now that there are levels of poorness. So I never missed a meal. All right. So we weren't that poor. But if I'd asked my dad back in the day for a dime, and a dime could buy you a soda or a bag of potato chips or whatever, he would say, no, we don't have any extra money, or what people call discretionary income. But interestingly enough, if I said, Dad, I have a job to wash 2 or 3 cars and I need some soap, he would say, we'll get you some soap. And so he would find a dime for that. But so there was a certain priority that was implemented. Yeah. And then, you can take things, even the coronavirus, these things have energy, just like you have all this energy. You've already transitioned a lot of it to me. I'm usually a pretty positive person, but I feel like my positivity right now is at like tenfold, just having, been greeted by you. And so for me, wanting to get out of that house and have a little of my own space, I knew I was going to have to save and work hard and invest to do that. So that was something that informed me, it motivated me, it drove my behavior. Plus, even though we didn't have money, no one ever told me, Sam, you can't save, you can't invest. What they did tell me is when you have a limited resource, just like water in the desert, if you have very little money, it's very important that you make smart decisions with it. You better think, what do you want more? You want those potato chips, or do you want to live on your own or in a bigger space where you have more independence? And every penny counts. Pennies are powerful. And I know you know, and that's a message we like to give kids. Pennies are powerful. And it's not so much because pennies are a lot of money, but it's because if you respect a penny, then there's a good chance you're going to respect a nickel, which means you're going to respect a dime, which means these things are habitual. That's why Sammy the Rabbit, our character, he's very focused on habits. So one of the things you want to do is get kids starting to save pennies. Of course, if they can save nickels, save nickels, but get them to do that regularly. That's what a habit is, something we repeat often, over and over again. It's a pattern, it's a routine. Let's get kids thinking about that. So there was this big foundation. If I think of my mind like a garden, these seeds were planted and then they were watered and nurtured in a whole variety of ways. And, I started off with this idea that I'm going to make saving and investing a priority. So I wasn't thinking, oh, I can't save. I was making $8 an hour. That was the most money I ever made in my life. I was really excited about it because I was used to making $2 or $3. So $8 was amount of money. So I took that off the top, and then I lived on like $5 or $6. Maybe it was $4 because they were taking taxes out of that money. But I just figured out how I could live on that smaller amount. So I started off first living at home, but after 2 years, I was able to go and live out on my own. And then here's something I did also that I thought was really powerful, is every time I got a raise, and back then we were getting raises every year. They weren't big amounts, but they were raises. And so I'd take half of the raise and put that into savings and investing. And the other part went to taxes. And then what was remaining, I would increase my standard of living with that amount. And so I was just very focused and oriented on that. And I made some good and some bad decisions relative to the management of that money. But the most important decision I made was getting on that automatic and habitual path of saving regularly and investing regularly, and despite some of the poor decisions I made, that pile kept growing and growing and growing. And eventually, over time, it built more choices for me, even to this day. And I'm just ecstatic about it. And that's a message I want to share with kids. I want to share with parents. I want to share with teachers. And I'm happy to report to you, we have been for 20 years.
Yes, awesome, awesome. So you shared several valid points that I definitely want to go back and touch upon one of those. And you mentioned Sammy the Rabbit. So tell us a little bit more about why Sammy the Rabbit was created and how do you use him?
I'm going to answer that, but I want to go back to something, your introduction. You forgot to share one of the most important things I do, and I think I do this better than anyone in the world, and that's sing off key. No one does it as well as I do. And so Sammy the Rabbit, I invented him because, one of the questions I ask myself, I'll ask you this, I'll ask your audience this. If you could only, and this was a question I asked myself before I got into the financial literacy movement or financial education movement. I said, Sam, if you could only teach a child or an adult one thing about money, one habit that they might adopt, what would it be? And essentially it was this idea of paying yourself first or making saving and investing a priority. And I thought, how do we translate that to kids? Because in general, especially young kids, they may not be earning money. And so we came up with this idea that saving is a great habit. And I started further thinking, well, how do we deliver that message to kids? And so we thought, a character might be a great way to do it. And that was kind of the invention or creation or birth of Sammy the Rabbit. And then we thought, we need a variety of ways to bring this message home. So we started with storybooks, and then we went to music. And let me share with your audience, I write the songs. They don't let me sing any of them. Big decision we made is who do you bring this message to? And really what I've discovered is that there are multiple audiences or targets out there. Now, our main thought is you need to start teaching kids early, and early might mean as soon as they're born. It might mean 3 years old, but it definitely means before they're 7 or 8 years old. And in order to do that, you not only need possibly to have access to the children, but you need to have access to their parents, to their teachers, to their community leaders, to their after-school programs.
Right.
So you're really working with a wide variety of people. It's just not kids. And I think of all the people that I just mentioned, the most important people to be talking to are the parents. The parents.
Yeah.
No one is more influential in any regard, including money, with respect to their children than parents, and that includes teachers. Now, teachers are a part of the process, and I mean teachers like in school teachers. They're part of the process, should be part of the process, but they're secondary, not primary. Sure, in some cases it turns out that they are primary, but parents are mostly and should be primary. No one has more invested in the outcome of their children than the parents themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thinking along those lines, what would you say are some misconceptions then as you're working with students and families? What are some of those misconceptions that you hear over and over and over that we can help the audience dispel?
Well, there's several of them. Thank you for asking that. The first one is that we're not teaching kids about money. Kids are learning machines from the moment they're born. And so they're always learning about money because people are always talking directly or indirectly about money. The issue is they're not doing it purposefully, consciously. So unfortunately, kids are picking up a lot of bad information because their minds are like sponges. You know, they're born, and their eyes and their ears are what help them start taking in information, and they start forming these neural networks and attitudes towards money because they hear about it, they see about it, and so they start developing attitudes and feelings about it. Now, sure, they may not be able to articulate what it is they're learning, but the learning is happening. So number one is don't underestimate what your kids are learning or absorbing. And along with that, that would be 1A, and 1B is start taking charge of that conversation, giving it purpose and direction. And the number one thing Sammy Rabbit and I would start off with is the idea that you should save money, make it a habit. So something even for a baby you might do is you might take a glass jar, hold it yourself, or a plastic jar that you can see through, deposit 2 coins in there, maybe 2 pennies, a penny and a nickel, and a penny and a dime, or 3 or 4, and shake it, shake that bank. This is the sound of saving. And then maybe right in front of them, you take that penny, you make a little hole in that savings jar and drop it in and say, saving money is fun. And then shake that.
Right.
Okay, so these are little simple, easy, executable strategies that start to share feelings and start to develop mindsets. If you use a computer analogy, start to inject and impart and install the software in their thinking so that they develop a positive and strong relationship with money. So, you know, the Demons, Lynn, is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yes, Demons, great. No demons here, Demons, yes.
Demons. Okay. So, you know, you can add along to that, the Demons are savers. Okay.
Yes.
The Demons are asset builders. The Demons make good money choices. These are short, simple sayings. So when your child is able to write, you can have them trace those sayings. So now, you know, there's a big language gap just in general, let's say between families that have a lot of money and families that have a little bit of money. And that language gap is probably exacerbated when it comes to the language of money and how we talk about it. So it doesn't have to be that way. That's something that we can take control of. Everyone, everywhere can say, we are savers, and this is how we save money. We start by, we make a deposit. We deposit pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, and one of the exciting things that you'll find in Sammy Rabbit's signature song, Get in the Habit, is that when you make a habit of saving, like Sammy the Rabbit, you can watch your savings grow and grow and grow. That's an exciting thing. That builds independence. That builds financial wellness. That builds security. Start with pennies and see what you can do. And you know what? If you don't underestimate your kids, they will amaze you. By the time they're 5, by the time they're 10, by the time they're 25 or 35, they may be buying you your dream home. You don't cut that possibility off by saying, "Oh, we can't."
Awesome.
So that's one that's one big thing. That's a pet peeve of mine. It really disappoints and discourages me when I hear parents or teachers sharing with their children that they're not able to save. When you think about it, there really isn't any. Maybe the parents, for whatever reasons, are unable to save a penny or a nickel a day or a week or whatever it is. But there really isn't any reason a child can't save. A child doesn't have expenses. So they can save pennies, they can save birthday gifts, they can save Christmas gifts, they can save other givings that people offer them. And you know, if they do, this is going to have an impact on their thinking, their feelings, and their relationship with money. But we have to take charge of it. We have to install that thinking in their minds and in their heads and their hearts. That's what we say. And I want people to know this. This is another big misconception is some people are waiting for quote unquote access. Let me say this, if you have a cell phone, you have access to some of the best education on money that the world has to offer. And so,
Absolutely.
so what that means is you have access right now. So you don't have to wait for you don't have to wait for anyone. All you have to do is make a choice to Google search Sammy Rabbit or Lynn Demons or financial education, whatever it may be. And it is there right now today. I can assure you that. It doesn't matter if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in India, wherever you are. And if for some reason you don't have access, go to your local library, go somewhere. Integrate, and this is something that you can start today with the coronavirus stay at home learning. Integrate one lesson a day or a week into your child's learning related to money. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Stick to the basics. And the basics are
yes.
Save.
Awesome, awesome. I love it, love it, love it. So, Sam, what I wanted to ask you, and you went right into that next question, the advice you would give. I love that around that. One lesson today around finances. Do you have any recommendations before you share with everyone how to connect with you? Any recommendations for those parents? Because I know a lot of parents are out there saying, oh, this homeschooling thing, this is too much for me right now. What are some little quick, simple tips that they can do to implement that one lesson a day?
Okay, stick to the basics, first of all. The basics are this: make a habit of saving, have a strong earning ethic, be a giver, but be a wise giver, and spend smart. Just don't spend, spend smart. So those are the 4 basics. Of those, focus on saving. And here's the reason you want to focus on saving. 1 is you want to make it priority, and 2, the benefits of learning to save go well beyond financial benefits like financial security and financial independence. What saving teaches a child to delay gratification. It teaches them discipline. It teaches them to set goals. Those are important lessons that will help them in all areas of life to be successful. So you want to create activities. We already described 1. You can shake that bank. You can read kids stories. You can sing them songs. You can play games with them. You can have them create art projects, create your own savings bank, create a goal poster that you put in your room. We love reading, so we always really strongly encourage parents to start with story books. We have 2,
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them out there beyond ours.
Awesome, awesome. We love that, and we truly appreciate you for joining us and having this courageous conversation with us as we're moving through this pandemic at home, giving us some helpful tips that we can have to actually develop the habit. Yes, guys, it's a habit. That's the name of the company, and that's what we're imploring you to do today. So will you please tell the folks, how do they find you? How can they follow you if they would like to follow you on social media, or if they want to reach you?
Go to SammyRabbit.com. That's SammyRabbit.com. SammyRabbit.com. Everything's there. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. You know, it takes a village. Everyone needs to contribute, but it starts with parents, and then it starts with great community leaders like yourself, Lynn. Thank you so much for being an advocate and having a platform and a champion for children and families and financial education.
Well, I appreciate you.
Yes,
I appreciate you. And I think at some point we need to get together in Atlanta or LA, doesn't matter, after this epidemic or pandemic is over.
That would be awesome. Sammy-rific, as we like to say.
Yeah, Sammy-rific, yes, yes. All right, guys. Well, if this information has been invaluable for you, please go over to WYTV7.org and make a donation so that we can do what we're called to do, guys, and that's to continue to enhance the kingdom. We thank you so much for tuning in to Financial Confidence, where we're helping you to make your money, keep your money, and grow your money so you can do the things that you're called to do. That's to build generational wealth and leave an inheritance for the children's children. Guys, we want to implore you, go ahead and subscribe, like, and follow, share, because sharing is caring. Share this out in your community so that we can all get to our next. We appreciate you, and we'll see you same time, same station next week. You guys be safe. Have a good one. Information has been invaluable to you. If it has, guys, go over to WYTV7.org, leave a donation so we can continue to do what we're called to do. That's to enhance the kingdom. We thank you so much, guys, for being here, joining us for Financial Confidence. Don't forget to contact us, send us those success stories. How you doing? Financial Confidence 2020 at gmail.com. That's Financial Confidence 2020 at gmail.com. Guys, I'm signing off. Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow this channel. Share it out with your family, friends, and throughout the community, because there's someone out there that needs to hear this message, and they need it now. Make sure you get it out at your earliest convenience. We appreciate you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in, where we're helping you to make your money, keep your money, and grow your money so you can do the things that you're called to do. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Until then, be safe. Stay at home, y'all.